Association of Youth and Students for Peace, Pilipinas. A global family of young people building a world of peace with true love.
If this is your first time visiting on our channel, make sure to hit subscribe and please turn on the notification bell to be notified for the upcoming videos.
A very special guest speaker, none other than the Regional Vice President of FFWPU and Chairman of the Universal Peace Federation for Southeast Asia, Mr. Julius B. Malicdem. Let's give him a virtual applause.
Thank you very much, Naomi, for that introduction. To all our participants, youth leaders, the organizers of Leaders Connect Mindanao, thank you very much for inviting me and give this presentation. And thank you so much once again for joining us in this YSP's Leaders Connect Mindanao with the theme, Let's Ascend One Rung at a Time. In this 30-minute presentation, I will be sharing with you some important steps as you climb the ladder of success so that as a youth in our contemporary time, you can truly live a purposeful life. Through these life principles, which are some of the fundamental principles taught by our founders, Dr. Sun Myung Moon and Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, you can gain the confidence that indeed success in its truest measure could be attained. Handa na ba kayo? Okay, so let's start. I would like to start by sharing to you an interesting story. It is a story of a father and his 5-year-old son. It was a typical Saturday morning, and this young boy wanted to play with his father. He said, "Daddy, can we play?" And his dad, who was busy preparing for a report that he needs to submit by Monday morning, answered, "Sorry, my son, not now. I am busy." But the boy insisted, "Dad, please, let us play." At that point, the father noticed a world map and a scissor on top of his table. "Okay, I have a great idea." So he cut the world map into several pieces and gave it back to his son. "Hey son, this is the game." "What is the game, Dad?" his son asked excitedly. "Oh, this game is called jigsaw puzzle. Just put the pieces back together correctly, bond them with a tape, and when you are done, show it to me and we will play another game." So his son was so happy and he said, "Wow, okay." And he went to one corner of the room. His dad was murmuring, finally, my son will not disturb me anymore." However, after 5 minutes, the boy went back to his dad and said, "Look, Dad, I did it." His father cannot believe what he saw. Still shocked, he asked his son, "Hey son, since when did you learn about geography?" "What? Geography, Dad?" So his dad asked his son, "How did you do it?" And his son answered, "I just put together the picture of a karate master at the back of the map. When the man became whole again, the world got together as well. Nang mabuo ang tao, naayos din ang mundo." So if we are to talk about true success, we should be able to solve first the challenges in our nation and in our world today, and that should begin by first solving the problems in ourselves, in us human beings. I guess most of you, our young participants today, probably belong to Generation Z. That is why you belong to Generation Zoom, right? Before the age of Bluetooth, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and robotics, It was the aids of many scientific breakthroughs in the 20th century. You know, the 20th century was an important century in the history of sciences and technology. From space exploration, microwaves and satellites, from automobiles, airplanes and submarines, from television to personal computers, X-rays. We have seen the best of men in the 20th century. However, we also have seen the worst in man. You know, from massive poverty and hunger to drug addiction, moral degradation and destruction of the families, religious and ethnic wars to wars among nations, pollution, climate change, racial discrimination, terrorism. The question is, what went wrong? Anyari? These challenges actually pose the greatest threats to the young and gullible minds of our youth today. With all these challenges, is Buddha true in saying that life is indeed full of suffering? So how are we going to realize now our dream of success? Our dream for a happy and contented life? Our dream to live in a world of lasting peace? So as Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But even though we make the first step, but if we are going towards the wrong direction and opposite direction, we can never reach our desired destination, right? That is why making the right first step in the right direction is of paramount importance. So I would like to use the word peace to emphasize some of the steps for a purposeful life as you ascend one rung at a time towards true success. So let us talk peace. First letter is P. And P stands for purpose. You know, you cannot ignore the importance of finding purpose if you are to journey towards success. Life without purpose is like sailing in a vast ocean without a compass or a radar. As Mark Twain said, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. So why is it important to understand your true purpose in life? Because it will define your true value, your true worth. You know the value of a pearl? You know, there are many very expensive pearls. I heard that the most expensive pearl in the world is estimated to be worth around $100 million. Wow! That is how valuable pearls are. But what happens when you give these pearls to a pig? Can they appreciate the value of the pearl? No, they will just eat those pearls. So it is the same with us human beings. Unless we know our true value, we will never appreciate the life given to us on this earth. So you need to find your true value. You need to find your true worth. You know, why is it that golds and diamonds are valuable? Do you know why? Because diamonds and gold are very rare and does not change. Their value does not diminish in time. So talking about purpose, are you someone like this? As you struggle to find out your life's purpose? You know, many times we have tried to define our purpose, or we have let others define our purpose and direction. However, is it for us to define our own purpose? And do you agree that everything that exists has a purpose? Yes, everything has a purpose. So let's take an example. For example, a pen. The purpose of a pen came from the manufacturer, right? The designers determine how the plastic and metal would be molded and how the pen would be used. And it is used for writing. However, maybe I can define other purpose for pen. I can use this for poking on someone. I can use this for stirring my coffee. But is it right? It is the manufacturer or the creator that will define the purpose of that pen. So to understand our purpose or our existence, we must know our Creator's original purpose for creating us. So secondly, the purpose exists before the created thing come into existence. Purpose drives the design and the manufacture of the product. That's why purpose precedes our existence. And that purpose defines our value, right? So, in conclusion, the purpose for my life actually came from my Creator, God, not from me. That is why it is important to know, what does God expect from me? What is God's purpose for me? Are you okay? So, purpose is more fundamental than just your career, your job, or your vocation. Okay? So yes, you can be a doctor, or a lawyer, or a teacher, or a businessman, etc. And you can actually choose your own career. In short, your career or your vocation is selected after you were born, right? And you determine to a large extent your own profession. However, your career is not the same as your life's purpose. Because your life's purpose is not your own choice. You don't decide your life's purpose. Again, who decides your life purpose? It comes from the Creator, God. And that purpose is actually the same for everyone. It's the same for me, it's the same for you, and it's the same for all people. So therefore, when we think about purpose in life, we have to understand that is why as you step on the ladder towards success, first and foremost, you need to have the steady foundation. Otherwise, your ladder will be moving. And that is to understand your purpose that comes from God and not from you. You are responsible to be the best person God made you to be, and that is become God's filial sons and daughters. As they say, who you are is God's gift to you, and what you become is your gift to God. So let's continue our talk on peace. Next letter is E, which stands for existence. This talks about understanding who we truly are, the essence of your very existence. That essentially, we as human beings are spiritual in nature. That is very important as you ascend in the ladder of success. As Bob Marley said, don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver or gold. So let us understand more deeply who we are and how do we pursue true and lasting happiness. Okay, so everybody wanted to be happy, right? Meron ba sa inyo na pagkagising sa umaga at mag-wish ng, sana maging malungkot ako ngayong araw na ito? Hello? Okay ka lang? So okay, for example, this is you. You have your mind and body. To satisfy your physical needs, you long for what? You long for food, shelter, wealth, and comfort. We call this material values. This is normal. We seek for this for our physical well-being. Then how about your mind? Alam po ninyo, iba ang hinahanap ng mind natin. No? Our mind seeks to satisfy what we call spiritual needs. For example, truth that stimulates our intellectual desires, beauty, goodness, and love that stimulates our moral desires. So when you have this, then you can gain what? You can gain inner satisfaction. Actually, both of this are needed so that we can experience true and lasting happiness. But what is the problem? Most of the time, we just focus on what? We just focus on the desires of our body and neglect the desires of our mind. We neglect inner satisfaction and only concentrate on gaining physical satisfaction. So if we do this, we prioritize the desires of our body above the desires of our mind, then actually we can still attain happiness. But only what? Temporary happiness. So when you ignore your spirit, then you can become like an animal. Wala na tayong pinagkaiba sa hayop. I'll give you an example. For example, mayroong isang pusa pumasok sa isang bahay. Tapos may nakita siyang ulam doon sa ibabaw ng mesa. Sa palagay ninyo, magpapaalam ba yung pusa sa may-ari bago niya kainin? I don't think so. Definitely, yung pusa aakyat doon sa mesa, kakainin niya yung ulam na walang paalam. How about, let's say, may isang tao pumasok sa bahay na hindi sa kanya. Tapos may nakita siyang nakahandang pagkain doon sa mesa. At kung yung tao na yon kinain yung nakahandang pagkain pero hindi siya nagpaalam, ano ang tawag natin doon? Yung tao nag-asal pusa or nag-asal hayop. So it is actually an issue of priority. When you prioritize the desires of your mind above your body, then this is what? This is public-minded and this is good. However, when you sacrifice your mind and prioritize your bodily desires, what happens to you? You become self-centered and you become selfish. Therefore, our responsibility is to set right our priorities in life. So that is why, when we talk about the growth of human character, it is not automatic. Yes, our body, our physical body can grow automatically according to biological law. However, our character, the internal aspect of the human being do not grow automatically. So when you were born like this, right? Cute, right? You were born with the potential for love. But that love is like a plant that needs careful cultivation to be nurtured. That means we need what? We need to make efforts. And then you become mature and you can realize your potential for love. So, it is actually you who is responsible for your own moral development. To achieve your full potential, we must actively take responsibility for the growth and the development of our character and heart. Kaya tama yung kasabihan, madaling maging tao, pero mahirap magpakatao. This is actually what the world needs now. Because of all the technological advances and material developments, humanity tend to be more individualistic, materialistic, and selfish. People have the tendency to make wrong priorities. But actually, to realize true happiness and true success, what we need is not more material things, but what we need is more heart. Third is the letter A. Letter A stands for altruism or living for the sake of others. To continue our steps in the ladder of success, please do not forget a very important principle, that principle of living for the sake of others. As Mother Teresa said, a life not lived for others is not a life. Amazingly, when you look at nature, we can see very clearly the principle at work. God's ideal is based on the principle of living for the sake of others. From the smallest creation like the atom to the largest creation like the solar system, there is only one principle that governs them. And we can observe the principle of living for the sake of others in all creation. I'll give you an example. So this principle of living for the sake of others or for the sake of higher purpose is universal to all created beings, especially for us, human beings. We were, created based on these principles of being related to each other and not existing alone or independently. So we can say that the basis of our existence is through what we call reciprocal relationship. Once again, reciprocal relationship, or the principle of coexistence and interdependence. I want to invite you to look closely, at this photo right here, right? So what do you see? Looks like this bird here is in a life and death situation, right? Like anytime now, this crocodile will just snap close its mouth and bye-bye birdie. But actually, this bird is called a plover bird that recognizes the invitation of the crocodile when the crocodile opens its mouth. This bird is actually eating the food that were stuck in the crocodile's teeth. The bird gets a free meal and the crocodile gets free dental cleaning. So they are both benefited. Amazing, right? Amazing relationship. So this is the principle of creation, that nothing exists for itself, rather all for the benefit of created beings. We call this symbiosis, right? Or living together. Okay, this is another example. What do you call this fish? Nemo? This is actually what we call the clownfish. And this clownfish like to stay with sea anemones. They have symbiotic and mutualistic relationship. The sea anemone protects the anemone fish or the clownfish from predators, as well as providing food through the scraps left from the anemone's meals. And in return, you know what happens? The clownfish defends the anemone from its predators and parasites. So the anemone also picks up nutrients from the poo-poo, the poo-poo of the clownfish. Amazing relationship. This is another example. This is the hummingbird, the relationship of the hummingbird and the flowers. So this is what we call another mutualistic relationship. Both benefit. The flowers produce food or nectar, and in return, the hummingbirds help to move the pollens for the plant to reproduce. This is amazing relationship we can observe in the creation. So we cannot deny this universal principle of give and receive action. Look at this. Plants, and animals support each other in order to survive. Plants give off what? Oxygen, which the animals need in order to live, while, the animals give off carbon dioxide, which is also needed by the plants in order to survive. Wow. This is the law of nature, which is based on the law of cooperation. So if you deny this universal principle, you cannot survive. That is why selfish people are destined to perish. I'll give you an example. If you inhale, you naturally exhale. Okay, pangatawanan mo yung pagiging selfish. Ayaw mong magbigay. Inhale, ayaw mong magbigay. Inhale pa rin, what will happen to you? Will you survive? No. You will perish if you defy the law of nature. As our founder, Dr. Sun Myung Moon, emphasized, when we realize that we exist for the sake of others is the great achievement that can change your lives. So let us continue our talk on peace. Let's go to letter C. And C stands for cooperation, or the principle of unity, or the principle of togetherism. This is very important as we continue our ascension towards success in life. This is very much related to the principle of altruism. As Henry Ford said, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So that is why the law of progress in human society is based on the law of cooperation. When there is cooperation, then human society can develop and can progress. We need cooperation in all levels of relationship. For example, parents and children. Parents cannot become parents without children. And similarly, children cannot become children without parents. Teachers need students, as students also need teachers. Same with the relationship with employers and employees. Same with businesses and consumers. So when we talk about cooperation, this is again emphasized by the words of Helen Keller. She said, alone we can do little. Together we can do so much. Wow, amazing words, right? Alone we can do little. Together we can do so much. And let's go to the last letter of peace, letter E, which stands for effort. Yes, you heard it right, effort. Nothing can substitute for hard work. Most people who have succeeded in life are those who willingly went through suffering and failures after failures as they worked their way up. In this era, when everything seems easy and comfortable, and people like instant and fast, like instant coffee, instant noodles, fast food, right? More and more, people are lacking the virtue of patience and hard work. But these are actually prerequisites for a truly successful life. These are interesting words from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just remember, you cannot climb the ladder of success with your hands in your pockets. Amazing words. It's good to reflect on these words, right? Let me add one more for letter E. E stands for enjoy the ride. That means you can still be grateful even in a long and rough journey. Please remember that life itself is a journey. The destination is just a bonus. What is important is on your way to success, you are enjoying every bit of the adventure, the learnings, and the experiences of love that you have accumulated. My friend Leonardo DiCaprio aptly said, if you can do what you do best and be happy, you are further along in the life than most people. These are very important words. So in a nutshell, the steps you can take as you ascend to success, don't forget about this. You need what? First, you need to understand your true purpose in life. Also, you need to be reminded of who you really are, your existence, that you are essentially spiritual in nature. And then third, you have to be guided by the principle of living for the sake of others, or altruism. Fourth, you need to apply the principle of cooperation and unity. And then fifth, you need to value the importance of making effort and hard work. I hope that by now you have realized something important. That most important is your attitude about life, as well as your strong resolve to contribute something positive for our nation and for the world. So you should never forget that if your achievements are confined to only your own benefit, then it can hardly be considered as genuine success. Because, genuine success should be celebrated not only by yourself, but should be celebrated by the people who are benefited by your achievements. So live your life to the fullest in accordance with God's design for you. So as I close, I would like to end with another story behind the famous Nobel Peace Prize that I would like to ask you to ponder upon. Do you know the man behind this? Yes, the man behind the Nobel Peace Prize is Alfred Nobel. But who is Alfred Nobel? Well, he was not as we know him now. He was actually the inventor of what? He is the inventor of dynamite, no? Which is, of course, no, caused many people to die. No, ammunitions were used to kill people. He has built 90 armaments factory. In short, he was a notorious, rich businessman. But what made him change? What made him totally change? It was actually an incident while he was in Paris. He came upon a newspaper that gave him the shock of his life. You know, he read in the newspaper about his death. And in the headline of that newspaper, nakasulat doon, the merchant of death is dead. Actually, it was his brother who died, not him. So, well, that totally changed his perspective about life. He was afraid of what legacy he can leave behind when he dies. This is not what he wanted to be remembered in history. So to make the long story short, he sold all his properties and placed everything in a foundation to recognize people who have contributed for the betterment of humanity, for the cause of peace. That foundation was the one that started the now famous Nobel Peace Prize. So now let me ask you this question. What kind of legacy you want to leave behind? So our youth leaders, our young participants, may you all become the young people who are guided by your sense of purpose in life. And may you truly become agents of positive change and young people who can attain true success in life together. Thank you very much for staying with me in this presentation.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. You can also turn on the notification bell to be notified for the upcoming videos. Join us for more adventures.